Listen, I want to get straight to the phone lines. And Daniel, he's a Liverpool fan, he's called in. Daniel, poor performance, but what is exactly going wrong at the minute?
I'm a little bit worried, actually. I got faith in Klopp, but I'm a little bit worried because I'm starting to see shades of ARSENE Wenger towards the end of his career. And what I mean by that is when Klopp joined Liverpool, he had a particular style that he wanted to play, this high press, overlapping fullbacks. And we didn't have the defence at that time. So as fans, we weren't worried about conceding goals. But I think it was a couple of seasons back before Wolves were promoted. We played them, I think, in Carling or FA Cup. The blueprint was out on that tactic back then where people play a low block defence, okay? Now, the season after, he gets Van Dijk in. We get Van Dijk that January, and all of a sudden, he's now got the defenders that he wants to play the style that he wants to play. So in the season where we lost narrowly to Manchester City, we drew certain games by conceding goals playing in that style, okay? But it was close. We did well. It was good to watch as well. The season we won, if you look, every pundit was saying, Liverpool aren't playing with that intensity, but they're winning games. They're slowly pulling away. They're pulling away. Why? Because he tweaked it. He wasn't as stubborn. He tweaked the formation. You would see they weren't as trigger happy to start pressing high up. They would drop off a team, even go back to the goalkeeper to allow the team to come out. But the moment he has success with that default formation, he won't revert from it. He just sticks with it constantly. And Atletico exposed it, and now you're seeing all the lower teams are doing the same thing today. So the game aside today, there were some shocking errors in that game. The issue I feel is that Klopp's very stubborn when it comes to his tactics. One thing I'll say about Pep is, although head-to-head, Liverpool have had more success, had a lot of success against them, he seems a lot more innovative when the team are going through a phase to change things up, to try different things. We're in a season where they're congesting the fixtures. We're playing so many games, but yet he's still 6 games in a row playing the same tactic and hoping to get a different result.
Daniel, do you think you've still got a chance this season? Do you think you're still in the title, or do you think you're really, really struggling?
No. The title's over. The title's over now.
I think it's Man City's.
Yeah. It's Man City's. It's definitely Man City's. I can't see them dropping any points. We're out of it. In fact, right now, I'd say all we need to do is try and solidify the top 4. And I actually think he's missed a trick here, Klopp, because we've lost players. We've got a congested season. We were ahead, remember, earlier on this season. He could have just gone to something a bit more conservative and just nicked the league, just so we can keep the momentum until players come back for next season. But maybe it's the integrity of the man. He wants to stick in playing the same way. And in doing that, we've had all the bottom 6 teams pick us off. And then today, this is what's happened now. We're out of the title. It's 100%. It's done. I just think right now, he's just got to pick up the players, the morale of the players, and hopefully we just get top 4 and go again next season. But if he doesn't change, there's a stubbornness about Klopp that if it doesn't change, I can see this continuing. And I'm not one to say, like the callers on the last show, get rid of him. No, definitely not. I like the guy a lot. He's done a lot for the club, the city, everything. But he's got to start changing things because I'm not seeing any difference in the way the team are setting up at all.
Yeah, you're right. Cheers, Daniel. Great call. He's right, to be fair. Is Klopp being a little bit too stubborn? And I do generally believe that there is a concern about Liverpool finishing in the top 4. Maybe Tom, he's a Liverpool fan, he's called in. Tom, is you concerned about Liverpool finishing in the top 4? Do you think it's just a bit being blown out of proportion?
You have to be concerned with the form at the minute. I think Klopp has gotten away with it to an extent by playing Fabinho for most of the season, Henderson in recent weeks at centre-half. Taking the 2 of those out of midfield, it totally changes the dynamics of the midfield. Like, Thiago, wonderful player, but when Liverpool are on a fast break and Thiago gets the ball, it just slows everything down. Like, a couple of seasons ago, you were seeing the red arrows flying forward and nobody could keep up with them. Bar that West Ham goal against West Ham there last week, it's been poor, it's slow, it's just terrible to watch. And I think what Klopp needs to do at the moment now, he's brought the 2 centre-halves in, he has to play one of those with Phillips, put the 2 lads back in midfield, take Thiago out of the team for a little while, let him see this is how we want to play. You need to be quicker. You can't dwell on the ball. Like, he was absolutely shocking tonight. Like, I lost count of how many times he gave the ball away. if they're not careful, they will miss out in top four. But I do think Klopp has the capability to get the team to click again and to start picking up wins. Like, hopefully Jota will be back soon. You know, he gives something a little bit different in attack, and it's just disappointing to see how things have slipped in the last since Christmas. Like, it's just very disappointing.
You mentioned things slipping. After 23 games this season, Liverpool are on 27 points less than they were at this stage last season. I mean, that is some slip. And I guess that the concern is that we saw this at Borussia Dortmund when Jurgen Klopp was in charge there. Obviously, they achieved great success under him. But the intensity, I think, that he wants his teams to play with caught up with them. And wasn't it inevitable that it was going to catch up with Liverpool in this truncated season, a short summer, so many games coming thick and fast? If you look at Manchester City, for example, they've been a lot more attritional this season than they have been under Pep Guardiola. They played some fantastic football today, but by and large, they've been grinding out wins without necessarily overexerting themselves. Do you think maybe Jurgen Klopp is to blame here for not changing his approach and not asking his team to play with, you know, slightly less intensity earlier in the season?
I don't know about that. Like, everyone's form is different this year. Like, I saw a stat on Sky Sports the other day that was it 52% of away teams have won this season. Like, that's 11% more than the highest other recorded away wins. But I think if you take the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez out of any team and you put their two best midfielders in centre back, it's going to take away from any team. I don't care what anyone says. Like, look, when City lost Laporte last season, it did have an effect on the team. But, like, Liverpool now, they just look a totally different team without Gomez and Van Dijk, especially Van Dijk. Because, like, his long range of passing, switching the play, setting up attacks, the way he can carry the ball out of defence.
Yeah.
You know, there's nobody there at the minute who can do that. Like Henderson, if you have him another 30, 40 yards up the pitch, he has that drive. He never stops running. Whereas when he's at centre-back, he has to stay there. And you can hear him shouting during the games.
Yeah.
Gee, lads, up to try and get into tackles, to move with the ball.
Yeah, Tom, you're certainly right there. I mean, Jordan is a massive miss in the middle of the park. He's the born leader. And I heard someone say that he's probably the best leader in the Premier League. I'd probably go along with that.